Let's talk about how we spend our money. The places we direct our money towards are a way of voting. Now, we don't always have a choice as to how we spend our money. The more money we have, the more flexibility we have in terms of where we want to see our money go. If we're living in poverty, we may not be able to afford local organic produce over conventional processed food. If we're working a job that has no public transportation options to get there, we may have to support cars over buses. But when we do have a say, and when it's within our reach to put our money towards something that makes our world a healthier place for everyone, then I think we absolutely should do that. In this course, we're big advocates of buying less, of buying what you need and what you'll actually use. In our home here in Switzerland and in our life, we probably don't check all the boxes to be defined under the label of minimalists, but we definitely use minimalism as a guide to how we choose what items to bring into our home and keep in our homes. So instead of collecting items in our home, we love the idea of sharing resources with people in our community by borrowing tools that we don't use often and donating or selling items that we no longer have use for. So you know that we have an entire course dedicated to secondhand living. We've been thriving off of the waste stream for years, and we've had close to no need to buy things new other than things like toothbrushes and toothpaste and so on. So whenever you possibly can, acquire existing items over new ones. Secondhand items are way more likely to be within your budget too, and with very few exceptions, there's nothing better, ecologically speaking, than giving a new life to items that already existed rather than buying new items, even if the new items were made responsibly. And of course, please buy secondhand within reason. Don't go buying dangerous antiques containing lead or recalled baby toys or helmets or baby car seats that might have been in a crash. But acquire your clothes, your appliances, your electronics, your vehicles, your food, your decorations, your furniture, secondhand. To me, this is one of the single best things you can do for the environment. If you're looking into buying new items over existing ones, support businesses that are environmentally responsible and that pay their workers fair wages. When you're supporting these types of companies, it's likely that it's going to cost more because it's reflecting the true cost of the item. So the cost can be higher for various reasons, maybe because of the cost of fair salaries, maybe because there are no government subsidies to keep the costs lower, or maybe because there are ecological practices in place that cost more, like carbon offsetting or composting. So if you don't have the budget to support this, especially if you've already changed your habits to buy less and to buy secondhand, then please don't worry about not being able to purchase from these places. You're just doing the best you can based on what your situation is. You can still support these businesses just by getting the word out for them. But if you can't afford it, then supporting responsible companies is a wonderful choice for the environment and for people. When people know that they're going to be supported by starting a small eco-friendly business and that they can count on people to choose them over not so green big businesses, gives them more motivation to move forward with their business idea. It means people stepping into self-created jobs that make sense environmentally and ethically, and less people feeling like their only choice is to take a job at a company that is wrecking the environment. Let's talk about donating money. Growing up, it was drilled into my head that whenever possible, I should donate my time and my money, however little. But how much should you be donating? Well, there are lots of different recommendations out there, and it depends not only on your income, but also on your wealth. So let's start with your income. Generally, it's recommended to donate between 1 and 10% of your pre-tax income. So the higher your income and the more comfortable you are, the closer to 10% that can be. So if you're living below the poverty line or living paycheck to paycheck, I would recommend securing your needs before even considering to donate. Don't donate 1% if it means that you won't be able to pay your bills. Let's say your income is $40,000 a year and you're in a comfortable financial situation. In this case, you could decide to donate 1% of this income, which is about $400 or about $33 a month. And if your income is $100,000 a year, you could decide to donate up to 10% of this income, which is $10,000 or $833 a month. And again, this is completely up to you to figure out what makes sense to you based on what your expenses are. If you are a very wealthy individual, you might want to consider donating more than just 1 to 10% of your income. I'm not a pro, and this example is far from perfect, but the point is to get a general idea as to why you might want to consider donating a percentage of your fortune in addition to a percentage of your income. So let's take fictional character Beth Genzos, who is the CEO of a major company called Zamagon. Let's say that he's worth $160 billion. That money is invested, and let's be extremely conservative and say that he only makes on average a 4% income on that. Now I can see investment bankers cringing at this oversimplified example, but bear with me. His income will be $6.4 billion. And if he gives away 1 to 10% of that income, it equates to a $64 million to a $640 million donation. But in 2018, Beth only donated $131 million, which is a little over 2% of his income. So he's falling within the income donation guidelines, right? That's awesome, right? Well, people aren't calling him very generous because Beth only donated 0.08% of his total fortune. So if you have $50,000 in savings in the bank, that's like donating $40 a year. Now, on the other hand, you have fictional characters Gil Bates and Warren Buffett, who are praised for giving away 3 to 4% of their fortune every year. That would be like Beth Genzos donating $4.8 to $6.4 billion a year instead of just $131 million, which according to my previous extremely conservative estimate would be 75 to 100% of his income. I can't give you exact guidelines as to how much of your fortune you should donate every year, but the whole point of this example was to bring up the fact that when you're extremely wealthy, you can start considering doing more than just donating a percentage of your income. So if you are very wealthy, how do you donate more without chipping away at your fortune? Well, if your income is $6.4 billion and really you only need $100,000 to be comfortable that year, then you could donate the rest of your income from that year. You'll get to keep your $160 billion, you won't lose any money, and you still have a gargantuan safety net. In fact, if you do have a lot of wealth, you can consider starting a foundation or a donor-advised fund. You can hire help to figure out how to best use the funds to strategically support issues that you hold close to your heart.